I use it for working with the server side Swift code that I write using Vapor. And what I've been working on recently is a lot of sign in with Apple code. Because for my new app, I'm using Sign In with Apple when the user wants to create an account. When they get to that point in the app, and then for my existing app, the Midst, you have to create an account right from the beginning because it is a social network, and so anything that you do associated with that is going to be associated with your username. And what I've been working on with Sign In with Apple has been not only the front end, which a lot of blog posts that you find out there seem to only talk about the front end side, the client side of Sign In with Apple. And then you kind of fall off a cliff when it comes to what happens on the back end, on the server side. If you want to save any of this information to your server, you're going to need some identifying markers on your server. So to talk about Sign In with Apple in a podcast format is a little tough, but I'm going to do the best I can. If you're implementing it using SwiftUI, there is a Sign In with Apple button that is built right into SwiftUI. It's just called the I think it's called Sign In with Apple Button View. And then there's some options that you can say. Do you want to say Sign In with Apple, Continue with Apple? I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head, but I think I have Sign In with Apple is just what I've selected. And then that button, when you click that button, it's going to pop up that sheet that you're probably familiar with that just says sign in. It's going to use your Face ID, your Touch ID to authorize that.
Right.
When that comes back, that's going to make a query to Apple. That's going to come back with a what's called an AS authorization Apple ID credential. And it returns a result. And if the result is successful, because it could fail if it's failed for whatever reason, it fails. But if it comes back successful, you're going to have that credential. And that credential contains a very unique identifier for every user. And that identifier is interesting to me because it's not a UUID. It's a user identifier which is stable across your devices. You could delete an app and then reinstall it, and it's still going to recognize you as the same person. You may have seen this where you've used Sign In with Apple once, and you come back to that app or that website again, and if you click the Sign In with Apple button again, it will say continue with your account.
Right. It wants you to log back in with your not sign up or whatever. So yeah, it does know that it's you again. So that's tied to your Apple ID, I assume. That's great. That seems so. Why? So the biggest question I have, I guess, Sign In with Apple sounds good. I guess, do you think of it as like, do you prefer it? Do you like it?
Well, I do like it. And do I prefer it? Absolutely prefer it. Mostly because then...
Well, do you prefer it over, let's say, either having a different sign-in system, having no sign-in system? And what are the situations where you might want to use it as opposed to not?
Well, there's a lot of reasons not to use it. It creates friction, right? A lot of people probably I have to create an account. I don't want to create an account, So that is can be like a paywall for some people. I just want to use the app. I don't want to have to create an account. I just want to use the app. I don't want to pay, of course. So, but if there's reasons where you have certain interactions or certain experiences in your app that are tied to an individual user, you're going to need some way of tracking who that individual user is. A social network, for example. The new app that I'm working on has accounts because one person is going to be looking for a team to join, and so that person is going to need to be continually identified, whether they maybe they haven't used the app in a while, maybe they've deleted the app, or they come back to it a year later. You're going to need to re-identify that person as the same person, or ideally you would identify.
Ideally, them. Yeah, right. And I know I see Sign In with Apple in some of the apps, and if I have to create an account, I usually choose that because it's convenient. And the first time, I think do you get to choose if you share your email or not, or does it always just share an email?
You choose if you share your actual email, or you can spoof an email.
Or a fake email. Yeah,
a fake email, yes. And that's another reason to use Sign In with Apple. And the reason I don't use my own system is because now on my own server, let's say I set up my own system to track users, right? email address, birthday, name, whatever other identifying markers you want to use. Now you're responsible for that security. If your server gets hacked, now that's all out in the open and that's on you. Whereas Sign In with Apple passes that responsibility off to Apple. Now you have certain identifying things that you can save on your server, but Sign In with Apple really reduces the amount of data that's transferred between your server or saved on your server, I should say. So that's the reason that I prefer it. It's also kind of one of these trusted things. There's Sign In with Google,
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as trusting it, feel like it's got that certainly in the Apple ecosystem. The one time where there are some times where I will avoid using it, which is like my normal Apple ID I have is normally sort of my personal Apple ID, and I'm like, well, if this is like a businessy thing, I'm not going to want to use that same Apple ID be tied to it or whatever. Or once in a while, I won't choose it if it's something I think I'm going to use long term, but really, really infrequently. But you've written a blog post, is what I hear. Certainly Swift.com.
I did. I wrote a blog post about this because, to go back to the thing that the most posts that I see about Sign In with Apple, they don't address the back end side of things. And remember, when we use that Sign In with Apple button, you're going to get a unique identifier for your person, but you also get a JSON web token that has a bunch of other identifiers in it. And you can send that JSON web token to your server. And then using Vapor has a built-in helper that is called jwt.apple.verify. And it uses the identity token that's within that JSON web token and your own app's bundle identifier. That is sent to Apple's server to verify that JWT is valid. And as long as that comes back valid, you'll again get the app's the app user their unique identifier, that same Sign In with Apple identifier that's tied to the iCloud account. So you can use that to pair with their account on your server, and so that way you're doing. It almost feels like a triple check. You're checking it on device when the Sign In with Apple button is tapped. You're sending that JWT to your server, which is querying Apple's server and sending back on authentication, and everything is verified.
So